International College Student Update as ICE releases college guidelines for F1, M1, and J1 visas. International students are being faced with their student visas being stripped and leaving the country or transferring to school with in-person classes. Harvard, MIT, and the University of California are amongst the colleges and universities filing lawsuits against the Immigration and Customs Enforcement and the Department of Homeland Security after the new guidelines were announced by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement about international students taking classes fully online for the semester. Many universities see the move as a political one, an attempt to pressure them to reopen rather than hosting all classes online during the pandemic. For some international students, the directive poses frustrating questions of logistics and uncertainty, but for others, notably those whose home countries are embroiled in conflict or have communications technologies that are insufficient for online learning, while the decision has the potential to disrupt their lives and drastically alter their futures. See, it's not just us that are sitting here at home being affected by coronavirus. It's also the international students that have been leaving here, and many of them, well, let's just say some of them didn't exactly have places to go, and with the schools closing down, so did the student housing. So they have a bit of a challenge. So for some students, remote learning could mean attending classes in the middle of the night, dealing with spotty or no internet access because, well, just like everybody else, well, we all don't have great internet access, and people are at home, and there's a lot of people at home, and sometimes your internet's just really slow. So also losing funding contingent on teaching or having to stop participating in research. Some are considering taking time off or leaving their programs entirely. And it's just not the international students, it's also the students that are on scholarships. For example, like some of the sporting scholarships, because, well, the reason they got to go to college is because they're on a scholarship for a sport. And if the sports are not playing, they have no scholarship actually for that semester. The guidelines, of course, from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement was released for the Student and Exchange Visitor Program. So this is what they've been talking about. Let's see. So the U.S. Department of Homeland Security plans to publish the procedures and responsibilities in the Federal Register as a temporary file rule. So these temporary exemptions for this fall 2020 semester include non-immigrant F1 and M1 students attending schools operating entirely online and may not take a full online load course and remain in the United States. The U.S. Department of State will not issue visas to students enrolled in schools and our programs that are fully online for the fall semester, nor will the U.S. Customs and Border Protection permit these students to enter the United States. Active students currently in the U.S. enrolled in such programs must depart the country or take other measures such as transferring to a school with in-person instruction to remain in lawful status. If not, they may face immigration consequences, including but not limited to the initiation of removal proceedings. Now here, there's two major issues. One is, it's kind of late in July to go ahead and transfer to another school with in-person instruction. And I don't really know of another school with in-person instruction. Most of them have all gone to fully online. Non-immigrant F1 students attending schools operating under normal in-person classes are bound by existing federal regulations. Eligible F students may take a maximum of 1 or 3 credit hours online. And non-immigrant F1 students attending schools adopting a hybrid model that is a mixture of online and in-person classes will be allowed to take more than 1 class or 3 credit hours online. These schools must certify to SEVP through the Form I-20 and Certificate of Eligibility for Non-Immigrant Student Status, certifying that the program is not entirely online, that the student is not taking an entirely online load course this semester, and that the student is taking the minimum number of online classes required to make normal progress in their degree program. The above exemptions do not apply to F1 students in English language training programs or M1 students pursuing vocational degrees who are not permitted to enroll in any online courses. And I just saw, I believe it was USC that just came out with something for international students, which is a class that they would attend so that all of their classes would not be online, which seems to be the easiest way to make sense out of all of this. And here's the other part is, as a college student, a major part of your learning has to be by being in person with other students. I mean, I know there's a lot of students, it's convenient to be online, but it's not the same experience. So schools should update their information in the Student and Exchange Visitor Information System within 10 days of the change if they begin the fall semester with in-person classes, but are later required to switch only online classes, or non-immigrant student changes their course selections, and as a result ends up taking an entirely online course load. So here, remember, if you are an international student, pay attention to your course load. So if you notice exemptions, you don't want it entirely online. You need to be able to take 1 or 2 classes that are not. But that's also a challenge because most of these universities, from what I've been hearing, are looking at just making it, how should we say it, an online course. So non-immigrant students within the United States are not permitted to take a full course of study through online courses. If students find themselves in this situation, they must leave the country or take alternative steps to maintain their non-immigrant status, such as a reduced course load or appropriate medical leave. Earlier, due to COVID-19, SEVP instituted a temporary exemption required. That sounds like a tongue twister. So due to COVID-19, SEVP instituted a temporary exemption regarding online courses for the spring and summer semesters. So that probably permitted non-immigrant students to take more online courses than normally permitted by federal regulation to maintain their non-immigrant status during the COVID-19 emergency. And if you guys haven't noticed, although the students probably have noticed that, which is, it's around to stay. So we're just trying to get back to some sense of normalcy, but they do understand. So F1 non-immigrant students pursue academic coursework, and M1 non-immigrant students pursue vocational coursework while studying in the United States. So as you can notice, like they said, this is a move that's a political one. The universities can go ahead and do some in-person classes or in-person workshops so that the international students can maintain staying here in the U.S. to learn. And we have much more coming to you. We're going to be doing more student videos because this is a hot topic right now. And I'm Joy Atlas, and I've been creating videos to update and help you get loans and unemployment and, well, let's just say, share with you possibilities for financial assistance. I would love some coffee to keep me up late at night, as you can see. And you can buy me a cup of coffee or 2, or catch me on Patreon for the Atlas Post. Info, of course, is available in the video description. You can also help us out by sharing our videos, liking them, making comments, checking out our playlist, and subscribing for the latest updates. Tap into your news with the Atlas Post. Have a joyful day.